Alrighty, today we are going to talk about how to rotate points. We will be rotating first this point, and we need a center of rotation. So for all of the questions that we're doing, the center of rotation will be the origin, which is right here in the center of these two axes at 0, 0. So I've got a point placed there, so we can see the center. I like to draw both that and the center because one thing that helps me to do rotations is to have a line segment drawn with one end at the center of my rotation and the other end at the point I'm rotating. This kind of acts as a spoke that helps me to see the rotation. Now you guys have seen lots and lots of rotations. All rotations go around in a circle. So I've drawn a circle that highlights where that rotation will happen. So as we rotate this, you'll see that point go around this circle. And just like with a wheel, a bicycle tire or a car tire or some kind of wheel, I kind of consider this a spoke. And that spoke will stay exactly the same length no matter where I rotate it. So that's what the circle is for. It's keeping us the same length all the way around. Now your question will read something like, rotate point C about the origin by a measure of, and it'll give you a certain degree measure. So we could have any degree measure, but right now we're going to go in increments of 90 degrees because this grid system is set up at a 90-degree angle. So if it says 90 degrees, we're going to rotate it a right angle over to here. Now one thing we need to understand, when it's positive 90 degrees, that rotation is counterclockwise. A positive rotation is considered counterclockwise this direction. If you get a rotation with a negative number, say negative 90 degrees, we're going to go clockwise. That will be over here. So there we go. We've got a rotation of positive 90 degrees and a rotation of negative 90 degrees. All right, now other rotations could be 180, in which case it'll take you down to here. It could be 270, in which case we'll go another 90 degrees to there. So this is breaking it up, and then 360s all the way around. This is breaking it up into 90-degree segments. 90 degrees, 180, 270, 360, and I could keep going if I wish, or I could go in the negative direction. Now let's do a second one, but this time our point is on our x-axis. So we have our point C, which we will rotate about the origin, which is there marked at A again. So I'm going to draw my circle and draw that segment that helps me. When I do this by hand, I usually don't draw the circle, but I definitely draw the segment. Now let's rotate it 90 degrees. That's a positive rotation, so it'll come down and end up here at the bottom x-axis, or on the y-axis. And you'll notice that the spoke, it was 3 units, 1, 2, 3 units when we started. Let's take a look right there. 1, 2, 3 units when we've started, and when we finish that rotation, it should still be 1, 2, 3 units in length right there. All right, if we continue to rotate, there's 180, still 1, 2, 3 units in length. Here is 270, still 1, 2, 3 units in length, and then all the way around is 360, still 1, 2, 3 units in length. So those are the building blocks for everything that we're going to do. Rotations around the origin on the x-axis and on the y-axis. That's these two rotations right here. The next point that we're going to do is a point that is not on the x or the y-axis. We'll need this because we're going to have lots of points all over the place. We're still rotating around the origin. Now this one's a little extra challenging because I would have a hard time telling exactly where this point is at 90 degrees. So for example, if I take this point and I try to rotate it around, I couldn't tell exactly where 90 degrees is. I could probably get pretty close, but I don't know exactly where that would be, somewhere around here. So instead of trying to do rotations with diagonal lines, I'm going to change this rotation to what we did before with horizontal and vertical lines. So I'm going to draw a rectangle with one corner at the center of my rotation and the other corner at the point that I am rotating. So I've drawn that here. The purpose of this is so that I have two lines, this horizontal line right here and this vertical line right here, that we rotated before, and it was very easy to rotate those in measures of 90 degrees. So we're going to take those two and we're going to rotate them, and when we're finished, that will show us a new rectangle and we can find the location of our point. So we're going to take this and we're going to rotate those two until we reach 90 degrees. So here we go. We've got a rotation of 90 degrees. And you can see that this has rotated to there, and the vertical line has rotated over to here. This point has rotated over to here, and so we can put a new point at that location. All right, if we wanted to rotate it some more, we could continue to go. This would be a rotation of 180, and then a rotation of 270, and we could keep going. All right, so the key on this is to just take these two lines, and I'm going to rotate that one by itself, and I'm going to rotate that one by itself, and then we're going to finish out the rectangle. So when this one rotates 90 degrees, it'll be pointed on the x-axis, or on the y-axis. When this one rotates 90 degrees, it will be pointed down on the y-axis. And when this line segment rotates 90 degrees, it will be pointed to the right on the x-axis. One more time, we'll demonstrate that. Rotation, there we go, to 90 degrees, right there. Now we're ready to start rotating some shapes. You'll see that we have a triangle here, and again we're tasked with rotating this about the origin, so I have the point D right there, and I'm going to rotate this about the origin. Now, what we're going to do is rotate these three vertices one at a time, and then we'll draw our new triangle from there. So we see we're going to start with this point C, and we're going to use our strategy that I just showed you. All right, so I'm going to ignore everything else except for my point C. And that point C, I am going to draw the rectangle with one corner at my origin and the other opposite corner at point C. So here is that rectangle right there. We're going to rotate this point 90 degrees. So remember, we're paying attention to this vertical line. It'll be pointed, 90-degree rotation would point it to the left on our x-axis. And we're going to look at this horizontal line right there. A 90-degree rotation will point it up on our y-axis. So let's watch that happen. Watch those two lines go. There's a 90-degree rotation, and this point, which was on the corner right here, has now been moved over to there. So we're going to put a point at that location at -1, 2. That one will be titled C prime. Computer's calling it something different right now, but the title of that will be C prime. We'll see that in a second. All right, next, take a look at our full triangle again, and we're going to rotate this next point, A. So I'm going to get rid of this rectangle. I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to create another rectangle with the corner at A and D. Now the two line segments we're looking at for this rotation are this horizontal one. When we rotate it 90 degrees, it will point down on the y-axis. And this one, this vertical line segment, when we rotate that 90 degrees, it will point to the left on our x-axis. So let's watch that happen. We'll rotate it 90 degrees. There we go. You'll see that this is pointed left. This one is pointed down, and our A, which was on the corner, has moved to this location at -3, -1. So we're going to put a point there. Okay, I do not need this rectangle anymore, so I'm going to erase that one now. And we are going to move on to our next point, which is B. So I need a third rectangle. This one ends up being a square, but it works the same. So one corner is at B, one corner is at D. Here's that rectangle right there. The two line segments that we're going to pay attention to are this one. When we rotate that 90 degrees, it will point down on the y-axis. And this one, when we rotate that 90 degrees, it will point to the left on the x-axis. So we can see that rotation happening here. There we go. And that gives us a new rectangle. Our B was at the corner, and we can see that our new point B is right here at the point -2, -2. So we're going to put a point there. That gives us now the 3 points that we need for our rotated triangle. So we draw that triangle here, and we'll name the vertices what they're supposed to be named, of A prime, B prime, and C prime, so that we can see A went to A prime, B went to B prime, and C rotated to C prime. I want to show you the rotation of the polygon all at once. If I was to try and do this all at once, it gets really difficult. There's a lot to pay attention to. You can see that rotation happening, but I have a hard time doing it all at once, so I would recommend doing the points one at a time and then finish out drawing the triangle when you're finished with those 3 points. Thank you.